This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oksenholt and was published by Oksenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little law and order left. To let them know in the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. To let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt, where we report the facts and we are not for sale. If you have a news story or something that's on your mind, please feel free to give us a call at 228-337-2099. Be glad to have you on. Thank you for listening, and we do appreciate all that you do to support us and keep free and independent journalism doing what we do best. Some people would like to cherry pick and post little clips. I believe in being thorough. There was an exchange posted about a disagreement between Kenny Glavin and Anthony Marshall at a city council meeting. It just showed a very little clip. Let's see the whole thing, shall we? Here we go.
January 20th, council meeting. I'd like to start off by the chair asking for a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Tisdale.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Creel. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes, sir. At some point, when we start to vote for the adding items on the agenda, I do have an item to be added to the agenda.
Okay, that isn't on our list today to add. So the chair is not going to recognize.
I'm not asking the chair to recognize. I'm asking the chair to follow the law.
Okay, the chair will follow the law. The chair is going to recognize the item that's listed on the agenda.
We are in discussion, are we not? We are in discussion.
Yes, we are.
Okay, let me read the law. The law says,
yes, we're listening.
I'm getting there. I know you're listening.
Okay.
All matters to be placed on the agenda by any member of the city council shall be authorized by the president of the council as herein. The council, it says shall be. All matters shall be. I submitted this to you. I submitted it to this council. I went through legal. I have legal notes. I've done everything I was supposed to do to get this on the agenda. You decided on your own, as if you were the king, to decide that we can't put something on the agenda.
You're out of order, sir. Don't reference me as the king, please. I won't let you.
There's seven of us up here. Anyone else here decide the same thing? Then you're not a ruling party of one. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Second is, the next thing is,
don't be rude, sir. But try to be professional. Thank you.
I think it's very rude for you to take an item that's supposed to, that the law says I have the right to put on the agenda and not put it on the agenda, and then tell me basically you're going to ignore it, don't recognize it. No, sir, I'm reading the law. Please stop interrupting me. You do not have the right to tell me how my tone should be. That is my right.
I'm presiding over the meeting, and I think I do.
If you're presiding over of this body as the president of this body, then you need to follow the law of this body. The law says you shall. It says all matters to be placed on the agenda by any council member shall be authorized by the president of the council. Now will be considered, shall be authorized. It also says that the council president shall be required to place all matters presented by a council member as prescribed in the agenda at the earliest possible opportunity. You've had this for over 2 weeks. We've known about this for over 2 weeks. This started last year. It was stated last year it would be placed on the agenda. Coming to the next matter, which you're trying to confuse. It says in all matters, which is 2 departments. We have 2 by Constitution. We have an executive branch and we have the legislative branch. You serve over the legislative branch. That man on that table, the mayor, is over the administrative branch. The law goes down to his responsibilities. His responsibility says all matters to be placed on the agenda by any member of the executive branch, which is that table over there, shall be authorized by the mayor as prescribed herein. The mayor is taking the executive branch. We're taking the mayor's the administrative. We're the ones who are making the rules and the laws. Okay? When we're doing this, it says the council president and the mayor shall determine the items to be placed on the agenda for submission to the clerk. It's saying, since there are 2 departments, administrative and executive, the 2 of you decide based on who you're over. You're not over the administration, but you are determining for the executive. For what we're doing. If you're not going to do that as a representative of our body, as the president of the council, you're doing what he wants you to do. The mayor cannot decide what we put on the council's agenda. If you read this, it says here, it's the council's agenda. It's not the mayor's agenda. This is the mayor's agenda? No, it says agenda for the Biloxi City Council.
All right. Is your point made, sir?
My point is you don't have the right to ignore me. Well, I'm telling you right now, you're breaking the law.
May I respond? I've listened patiently. May I respond? You don't. May I respond? I'm asking you a question.
I need you to respond. I need you to explain why you're breaking the law.
If you read the rules also say that that the president will be provided a draft copy of a resolution or an agenda item. There was a draft copy. There was actually a first draft copy. There was a second draft copy. The rules also say that legal has to have a chance to review it. Legal did review one of the draft copies. They recommended that we have a workshop. And I tend to agree with that because of this affects not just the councilman that is presenting this affects all 7 wards. It seems to me it would be reasonable to first hold a workshop on asking the questions on how we set up 7 different ward accounts and then take revenues that are coming in and collect it and how those are going to be spent. There are strings attached because of the contractual complexities of this type of resolution, and it just seems reasonable for a reasonable man to say, let's have a workshop. We may learn something in that workshop, and instead of putting a potentially flawed resolution together, then put the resolution together next, and then bring it to this council and let the council vote on it at that time. And that seems reasonable to me. So I received 1 copy, then I received another draft copy, and I understand there were conversations with some other council members on a 3rd or 4th copy that was being considered, and then it was we fell back to what you're trying to put on today, when legal has said this should, or this action should require a workshop. So that's what I'm trying to achieve today, presiding over this meeting. So I appreciate the conversation. The chair will recognize the item that's listed. on our agenda for today.
Sir,
that's it.
You made a lot of statements. I need to respond.
That's it.
I need to respond, sir. Are you okay?
That's it.
I'm the only one that's allowed to speak?
I have a comment.
That's it. Would the clerk read the addition?
We're still in discussion.
Oh, go ahead,
Okay.
by all means.
Sure. So
I'll recognize Mr. Tisdale.
thank you. So there's a timeline. It's procedural. There's a procedural aspect to this in terms of getting something on the agenda. It can be interpreted a number of different ways, I think. It'd be great if it was a little clearer. But basically, there's a procedure to be followed, and at some point, it goes to legal. Mr. A. Biden, he reviews it, and then it's placed on the agenda. I don't know that he may suggest that maybe there's a workshop, but the fact is, if there's a resolution that originates with one of us and it goes through legal, he looks at it, he may make a suggestion or not, but it's the councilman's resolution. Having said that, Mr. Abad, that's procedural in nature. Was the procedure followed in this instance to the best of your knowledge? And then I'd like Mr. Marshall to also explain, to kind of see if there was an issue that wasn't resolved where this happened, or...
Sure.
Thank you.
I guess maybe a week or so ago, I got a draft of a resolution. I made some comments on it about not binding future councilmen. Given the nature that we're in the middle of a budget year, the amount of bookkeeping and accounting that would be required, and like you say, with strings attached, it seemed to me that a workshop would be prudent. I submitted that. I never got anything back officially until 11 o'clock today with this version. I've not really reviewed my notes from this to see what the changes are. I did spend a little time during lunch to look over the ordinances about the council's agenda and the procedures. Mr. Marshall is stating from section 3.23 about the president shall place all matters presented by a councilman as prescribed herein on the agenda. So then you get to what is prescribed herein. There's several other sections dealing with how the agenda is put together. The agenda it talks about there's several parts of agenda. We all know about the policy agenda and the consent agenda. There's also in 3.22 talks about the study agenda. I'm not sure we've ever really done the study agenda here that much. We've directed the Planning Commission to do things from time to time. One of the things under the study agenda, which is at the end of the meeting, and it talks about it will consist of all motions for staff and legal review and study of drafts of legislation submitted to the President of the Council as provided in 3.25. We look at 3.25, and that's a request for legislative action. If any member of the City Council wants to place a matter on the agenda, they will provide a draft of his request for legislative action during the submission phase of the agenda. Submission phase is back on Thursday. That's defined as back before the agenda is set. So there was a draft submitted some weeks ago, but I don't know if it was submitted during the submission phase. This draft was not. But we're looking at 3.25, which is referenced in the study agenda. And it states, if a member wants to place a matter on the agenda, they'll put a draft to the council president during the submission phase. I stated that. The council will take no official action on any matter requested by the individual councilman until such time as staff or legal review has been made. That'll be completed quickly as possible. Upon approval, it will be placed by the president of the council on the agenda for official action. And it's not totally clear where it goes on the agenda, but given the fact that the study agenda talks about this same section, I would submit that a fair reading of all of this together is that once we have a draft of the legislation, then it would go to the council as a whole for this study agenda, which is probably the same thing as a workshop. So, although I didn't really tune into the study agenda a week or so ago when I suggested workshop, that was probably in the same ballpark. So I don't know if I really answered the question. I will say that this is it's a major piece of legislation. It is legislation submitted by the council. If we're going to set up 7 different paving or working type accounts for each councilman, that needs to be analyzed, the ramifications of that, how we're going to then procure each individual project from each of the 7 wards. There's just a lot of issues, but the issue of whether this draft submitted an hour or 2 ago is proper. It may be proper to put on a study agenda, but I don't know if it's proper to put on the policy agenda.
So if I may, if this were in order to be placed on next week's agenda, whatever Mr. Marshall's legislation is, or his resolution, that would have to be in your hands and in the council president's hands no later than Thursday of this week at 11 a.m., correct?
That's right. Under the submission phase, it begins at the opening of business on Wednesday. It ends at 11 o'clock a.m. the following Thursday.
Okay, that's fine. And how many copies of Mr. Marshall's resolution did you see? Or were they dated, and what was the date of the last one you saw?
I just saw what I heard was the first draft, and I've never seen any drafts since then.
All right, so as far as you know, there was one draft earlier, and then this second draft you got today?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, a third draft, but he only saw 2 of the 3.
Okay, and if Mr. Marshall could comment perhaps on...
Based on what you just said, every week that we come here, we find things that's on this agenda that's been substituted every week. Every council session, anybody can go back and look and see. Now, what we have here is a situation where this is something that the mayor is not happy with. He is convinced our president, who's supposed to be representing us,
Mr. Marshall, I'm going to stop you
there. If you don't like what I'm saying,
you're making
fine,
a statement that somebody convinced me. You don't know what somebody has convinced me of. So do not make those statements if that's just your.
Let me put it out like this, sir.
Well, I'm putting it out like it is. I wouldn't, if I think somebody put something in your brain, I'm not going to make that statement.
Mr. Glather, I've followed all the rules. This has been going on since last year. This was tabled last year. Okay. This right here was tabled. So we're not bringing up anything that's new. Okay. If anybody had any reviews other than that was a good time to do it then.
Then bring it off the table, Mr. Marshall. If it's tabled, bring it off the table. Show me that table motion and request that table motion be brought off the table. That is not what you're doing today or attempting to do today.
So you want a table motion to bring it off the table?
If we tabled this, which I don't recall us tabling this, what I would recommend is what legal has suggested, that we have a workshop and that we intelligently look at it with the administration and with people that are going to be responsible for putting these contracts together. Then, after we get that information, put your resolution together and submit it.
We're not asking anybody to put any contracts together. No one is asking anyone.
You're correct, but they have input on how this may affect that.
That is way down the line. What you're doing is you're trying to confuse the situation. Just like the lawyer just said, you're trying to confuse everything. We're not asking for any of that. We're only establishing accounts for the funds. That's all we're doing. We're not trying to spend any money. We're not voting to spend any money. All that has to come back to the council. All we're asking, and this was tabled. Now, if you would give me time, I would ask, make sure the clerk find out the last meeting when this was tabled, or I would find it, and we can come back to it. So can we do that?
After this meeting is concluded, you can request that the clerk find that.
No, I want to do it
It's
now.
tabled. We didn't put it on the agenda. It's tabled. So if you want her to go research it, find the resolution that you are saying was tabled, then you can request, if that's appropriate, to bring it back. All right. Any other discussion on this matter?
Yes, sir. I'm still
All right.
discussing.
Right.
Okay. The law is very clear. Okay. What we're doing here is we're making special rules, throwing extra hoops to jump through because the mayor doesn't like something. Okay. We've never, ever did this for any of the other things. Every week we have a whole lot, even today, we didn't see this. This is being corrected. We have agenda things that are added every week. Without having to go through the lawyers, without having to go through all these procedures, 2 weeks notice, all of a sudden we got all these time frames. That's wrong. I'm saying that it feels to me that you're not representing this council. You're only rep to me. Now you can't tell me what I'm not putting anything in your head. You're supposed to represent, you're the president of the council. And you're supposed to represent the council to get what we as council members want on the agenda.
Okay, noted. I think I've made that clear. Workshop, resolution, vote on it. I don't know why we want to bypass something that affects millions of dollars and that it could be complex and that we want to put a hastily, we've admitted that he's seen 2 of the 3 drafts have been put together. And he said he read from the law itself, just as you cherry picked and read some of it yourself over there. So we're going to move on.
Wait a minute. I want to get clear. I'd like to get clear what you just said. If it involves millions of dollars, then we have the right. We can't bring it up.
All right. Would the clerk read the substitution?
We need to vote on the order. Penny, we need to vote to suspend the rules.
We did.
No, you didn't. Do your hands.
Yes, we did. Didn't we vote to suspend the rules?
I made the motion to suspend.
Y'all motioned in second, but you didn't vote.
Oh, we were in discussion? All right. All in favor of suspending the rules? Those opposed? Motion carries.
I changed my vote to oppose.
5-2. Tisdale,
Right.
Marshall, against. All right. The clerk would read the substitution.
To the policy agenda, we're substituting item 4K, resolution designating 7 trees as a majestic tree for 1029 Howard Avenue.
Just to put this into perspective, there are procedures for things, and they need to be followed. Kenny Glavin has been a council member for a very long time. He has served as council president before, I believe. Pretty sure he has. And I'm pretty sure he knows the procedures, Robert's Rules of Order, things like that. And Anthony Marshall, buddy, not going to say anything bad about you because I don't know you. But I'm going to suggest that you really brush up. That's just my advice to you, man. Good luck. Good luck on your career. Y'all have a good day. Anthony Oksenholt, Access 228.